Good evening, class. Hope all is well with you all on this rainy Wednesday in Dallas. We are having our second part of our general entrepreneurship discussion that we started last week. Um, and I'm excited to have you all here. Before we get started, could y'all please type in the text box how you celebrated your Labor Day this week? I know it was a bit different now that most people are working remotely. I did sleep myself, Autumn. That's good. You know what I did? I graded homework. That's what I did for my Labor Day. Okay. Holly ate some food. What did you eat, Holly?
I ate some cheeseburgers, some French fries, and some hot dogs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was just grubbing.
Oh, good deal. Wait, Carolette, you got married this weekend? Well, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yeah, I got married this weekend and I got married Friday and I went to Chicago Saturday through yesterday
Wow.
for my honeymoon.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good deal. Good deal. And then went to Chicago for the honeymoon. Between eating good, having homemade burgers. Well, I'm assuming Holly's burgers were homemade. And
Yeah.
getting married, it sounds like it was a very eventful week. So congratulations to you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted us to I want us to have those type of questions I will start asking random questions in class. Before class, you may see a slide in between class to ask, to randomly answer via the chat feature. This is one of the many ways I want us to have an interactive experience here during this pandemic. All right. So today, I want to go over our agenda. This is a very simple agenda. We're going to go over some housekeeping. And whenever I state housekeeping, it's typically unresolved business that we haven't taken care of yet from the previous weeks, or some new things that I need to inform you all that I'll either post via emails or on Canvas. Then we'll have our lecture, which will conclude our general discussion on what entrepreneurship is. And then we'll have a space for Q&A. All right. Again, this is my expectations. Please ask questions. If you can, if I'm presenting, please ask your questions in the chat box and I will try to get to your question. I have my chat box feature open on one of my three screens. And I'm saying that so I can let y'all know I'm multitasking. So if you see me fumble around with the presentation, please don't charge my heart. I'm trying to manage several things over here. I definitely want you to think critically, build on your existing ideas, be open to criticism, and let's just have fun. All right. Housekeeping. The first thing I want us to talk about are our assignments on Canvas. Or week 2 assignments. I've graded you all's bug list and your entrepreneurial story. I thought you all overall did a really good job. Thank you for sharing what annoys you. I know that it was difficult for some to write 20 things that were annoying. But what were you all's take on creating that bug list? Anyone can unmute themselves and speak. And if you can, please turn your camera on.
For me, at first when I started creating the bug list, it was a little bit difficult, but then once I kind of started going, I was like, a lot of things kind of bugged me, I guess. And then I realized at the end of it, I was like, well, I guess it's more of a, because when we did like the why, I realized it was more of just like my emotions at the time, my point of view. And so if I had a different point of view, different emotions, then I would be able to view it a lot differently than it like bugging me.
That makes sense. And that's, thank you for sharing that because when I first did this, it had to have been maybe 3 years ago. I actually adopted this curriculum from one of my colleagues at the University of Florida, who was originally in Dallas. But he brought this assignment up, and I realized I've never done anything like this before. And so I was able to get 10 things that I totally am annoyed with easily. Like I could write the first 10, great. But from 11 to 20, it wasn't that it was difficult. I really just made a self-analysis of my life and to figure out what makes me tick. And so that was a good exercise for me to do. And then after that, the analysis or the recap, I think is important. Reflections is what I typically write, is very important, so that you can, as an entrepreneur, someone who strives to be an entrepreneur, can kind of empathize with your potential or your future market base. If you are bugged out by something, if you are bugged by random salespeople calling you on your cell phone with random numbers, chances are, if you're creating a business and you want to call or cold call people, you may have that same type of experience as a potential as a business owner trying to get more customers. So that's part of the reason why I thought that was a good exercise. Does anyone else have any feedback or comments on the bug list?
This is Kathy. For me, to kind of piggyback on what Holly said, it was really, instead of me really thinking from an emotional standpoint or thinking about it at that particular moment, I was able to kind of really assess my bug list and then really create like, oh, well, maybe that was my why, or maybe that's why it bugged me at the time, or why they do what they do. Mm-hmm. I thought about it from a non-emotional part of it. So it made me think about the bugs and truly why it happens based on the real issue more so than my emotions.
That's a great assessment too, Kathy. Thanks for sharing that. Not only, one, it's very easy to identify things that bug you emotionally, but to dig deeper as to why is very significant in terms of understanding a philosophy or some type of thought, right? And when you understand that, that could actually help you be a better business owner too, because you can really tap into how people think and react rather than just superfluous type things. So it's really good. It's a good assessment. What about the entrepreneurship story? I saw a lot of really interesting assignments on stories under your second assignment. Some of you all shared about your family as your motivation, or someone who you've seen in your community own a business. It was really good to hear those stories. Anyone have any comments on your entrepreneurial story?
It was just kind of funny looking back on it, because you never really realize, a lot of the business aspect that goes into entrepreneurship and how many risks you really take as an entrepreneur. I kind of remember writing my story because even though I haven't been around anybody who really did own businesses like that or necessarily had a lot, I wrote my story about somebody who sold chips and sold like Capri Suns at school. And I didn't really notice that was really an entrepreneurship story until I started thinking like, he had his own business.
Yeah, that was definitely me. I was the honey bun guy at middle school and in high school. And so when I could take a ride with my dad to Sam's and buy a huge container and then sell that at the school, that's a story. And so those are beginnings that help people who become successful in larger businesses. They learn their primary lessons from those types of experiences. So that's a really good assessment. Thank you for saying that, Autumn. Does anyone else have any comments from their assignment from the Entrepreneurship Story.
This is Marcella. It
Hey,
really,
hey, Marcella.
hey, it really made me go back to a friend of mine that I wrote about in there, Elizabeth Lonce, who now owns her own demolition and construction. And she first started coming to our meetings because I worked at a corporate office, and with her two little girls, 7 and 5 years old. She was very young at the time, just trying to be the first entrepreneur in her family. And here we are, fast forwarding 15 years later, and her business itself is now $1 million business. And it made me really reach out to her just to check and see how she was doing, and super excited for her. She's still part of the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association, which started it. So to me, I think for the young group that really wants to start in entrepreneurs, getting involved with your community and reaching out to these associations could become a big impact to help you start your business and take off. She definitely put in the grunt work. Came from nothing to something. So just never giving up at the end of the day, and it takes a lot.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that story. I read that one also. And shouts out to Mr. Martinez at the Greater Dallas Hispanic Contractors Association. I've done a lot of work with him when I was with the Black Chamber of Commerce. And I agree with you 1,000%. Those organizations have functions in our ecosystem, right? How entrepreneurs, and we'll talk about this. This may be in the class next week. I will have the president of the Texas Black Chambers of Commerce be our first speaker. And he's going to talk about the importance of advocacy organizations for entrepreneurs and the history for historically disenfranchised communities, women, people of color, those type of businesses, how they needed those type of community organizations to help advocate and provide opportunities for individual businesses to work. So thank you for sharing that. And that was a little preview of next week's course. I do want us to talk a little bit about the two more things about Canvas. One, or your peer reviews. What were your thoughts on the peer reviews, and were they functioning? I don't think the functionality was as I expected, but I wanted to hear what you all thought about the peer reviews process.
I think that was a little rough, going in and criticizing someone. Well, there was the 3 levels of it, obviously, where we said what we agreed with, and then we kind of gave our own experiences. But like going in and giving the constructive criticism, for me personally, was rough, because I didn't want to, like, not offend, because I know it's constructive criticism, but I didn't want to step on toes. So I thought that was kind of hard, personally.
Yeah. And Bianca, thanks for sharing that. It's uncomfortable, definitely, to have to criticize other people's work or opinions. My intentions is definitely not to throw shade at anyone, nor is it to provide a platform for you to show superiority against one of your classmates. So that's not my intention. But at the same time, it's really important for entrepreneurs or creatives, to be able to understand and listen how people receive and how people view what you are putting out there. And so typically I use the peer reviews purposefully in this space so that you can write and express your feelings. And if it's confirmed by someone else, meaning if someone can read your paper, make an assessment, and you're fine with whatever assessment they make, whether they think it's good or bad, but if it's true to what you say, I think it helps everyone out. It helps the entrepreneur affirm that what they're saying or what they're doing is valid, but it also provides ways and opportunities of improvement. Sometimes entrepreneurs are so set in their ways, we have like a tunnel vision, and if we have this product that we want to pull out to people, and people say, oh, that looks great, just add some sales to it. If you add that, I will buy 20 units a month of this. Those are the type of things that entrepreneurs like to hear and take back for minor tweaks so that they can be more marketable. So that's the reason why I have the peer reviews. And they'll get easier further along you are into the assignments and things like the interviews, things of that nature. You don't criticize just to find the negative. You can also affirm and find positive affirmations as well on your peer review. Good deal. Any other comments? Any other feedback on the peer reviews?
Yeah. So I'm actually glad we talked about that. We're talking about this now. So I'm looking at the syllabus now, and I guess I just overlooked it. I did everything else but the peer reviews, but I did see that everything was being submitted. I did see how some people were commenting on my things. So that's why I'm glad we're talking about it now. So for the peer reviews, we just how do we do that? Is we just click something or?
So typically what people were doing was using the comment section to make their peer review, but I need to go back into Canvas. I'll do this tonight. There is a button I can select that says peer reviews, and it should give you an option to assign you another assignment so that you can read it and do a peer review. I need to do that. I will look that up tonight and send everyone a message via discussion board to show you all a better process to do your peer reviews.
Okay, and then so this will be in the discussion board, not in the assignments tab then.
So no, I will send an announcement on the discussion board.
Okay,
announcement. But it'll still be in the assignment tab. So my way of communicating with you all, I want to send communications on discussion boards if it's something that is germane to everyone, for y'all to know if there's new information or if I'm answering or addressing the question that multiple people need to know. Or I will send it via email if it's an individual question, things of that nature. Typically, if I send it on the discussion board, I will also send an email to the whole class as well.
Okay, thank you. And then on the assignment, so it says on here where I clicked on like the book one, and it says assign peer reviews. It has two people's names on it, and we just click on them, and then we'll be able to see their thing, and then we just comment.
Yes. Perfect.
Got it. Okay.
That's it.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
So that means I've already done it. So I thought that I've had some issues with that, but if you're able to see that on your end, please. Yeah. All right. Good deal. All right.
You.
So in the comments, just to clarify, you want positive and constructive criticism, one of each. Is that what you're looking for?
No. Well, based on the syllabus, I really just want to hear your feedback. I want you to provide constructive feedback to whomever wrote the assignment. And I don't want to tell you write one thing good, write one thing bad, but I want us to be in the spirit of productivity, and I don't want us to tear anyone down.
Oh, okay, because the comment section on my side is kind of small, so I didn't know how much we could elaborate on.
Yeah. I'll work that out again, because typically I don't want you all to write it in your comment section. There's a separate peer review portion of Canvas that you can make your comments in. And that's what I need to adjust and figure out. I can see it on my teacher view, but it's difficult for me to see it on the student view.
And then if we haven't done those already, can we go back and do those peer reviews for this past week, or do you want us just to leave those?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Yeah, we just pick them up from this week's assignments on.
Okay, perfect.
Because I've already graded them, and typically, if you didn't submit if you completed the assignment, if you complete the whole assignment, you receive 3 points. So for the bug list, let's say you've done your 20 bugs and your reflection, you receive 3 points. Well, if you did your 20 bug list things and you didn't do a reflection, you only receive 2 points because you didn't complete this. If you didn't do anything, you received a 0. And so for the entrepreneurship story, very similar. If you did the story, and you provided an image, you receive full credit. If you didn't provide an image, you missed a point. If you didn't do peer reviews, you missed a point as well. So that's how I'm grading those assignments.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, no problem. Thanks. That's a great question. Any other questions for our Canvas assignments? So one more thing on the textbook, which is also in your Canvas, we're going to reactivate our chapter case studies for each chapter. We will start that. The first assignment will be due next Friday. Next Friday, chapters 1, chapters 2, chapters 3, and chapters 4 case studies will be due. Each case study is in the back of your chapter. There are about 2 pages long with 3 to 4 questions on each for each case study. Please, please, please complete those by next Friday. I'll add this on the discussion board as well. I will update our Canvas assignments to have under week 4, I believe, because this is week 3. Under week 4, you'll have multiple assignment submissions for chapters 1 and 2, and then probably for chapters 3 and 4. So, no, take that back. I will make a one assignment under week 4 for chapters 1 through 4's case studies, where you submit them via a Word document. You can submit a file there and have them separated by each chapter, so I can assess each case study. And please just write the question and answer for each case study. And that'll be a 1 composite grade of 24, since each case study are worth 6 points each. Next week's assignment will be 24 points, and then the subsequent weeks will be 6 points each. All right? Does that make sense? Okay. Let me write that down so I won't forget. Consolidate chapter reviews, chapter case studies, and check on peer reviews. All right, perfect. All right, next is your CRED assignment. I appreciate you all submitting and turning them in. I have been receiving your receipts. Some of you all were not able to make a snapshot. If you can go back and find a snapshot or proof that you've done it, submit it to me. That'll be easier for me. I do have a relationship with that office to where they're going to send me a list of names of people who've submitted the survey, but that's going to be in a couple of weeks or so, or I don't know when they'll submit that to me. That's why I want to have firsthand data on Canvas so that I can give you your 5-point extra credit space there. For your assignment, you will see, I will post, I'll put that in there too. I will post the rubric for the CRED assignment. The CRED assignment, I believe, is worth 32 points. And I will provide that rubric for you and a guide for you to effectively write parts 1 and parts 2 of the assignment. And we can discuss that. I believe it's not due until October. So we can discuss that sometime next week in our class. Extra credit opportunities. We definitely have one extra credit opportunity October 29th and October 30th. It is the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce conference. It's a virtual conference. The president will be on the call next week so that you can even ask more about the conference with him. But I will also provide some events that the career fair, as well as UNT Dallas, the departments are going to post. That's going to be a part of the extra credit opportunities that I will populate in Canvas in the next couple of days. And lastly is textbook arrivals. Some people have received the new versions of the textbook. That's why I've decided to pursue or decided to continue with our case studies instead of creating a different way of curriculum. So FYI, we're going to get to the case studies for this book. And as you are meeting in groups, use this book as a reference to help build the best business plan possible for your business. We'll discuss a little bit more about that later on. All right, another discussion question. Would you please, in the chat box, would you please type in what you've learned from this course so far in these first 3 weeks? I'll give you all 2 minutes. I am hoping people are learning something from this course. Thanks, Marcelo. Agreed. Everyone can be an entrepreneur. Just have to have the motivation, your heart. You have to have the heart, and that's something we'll talk about, and persistence. Yes, definitely thinking outside the box and assessing situations is crucial. Thanks for sharing that, Kathy. Thank you, Holly. You definitely. So, we'll talk later about that offline. But thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? I'll read a couple of more before we move on. Bianca, yes, entrepreneurship will make you dig deep, but it's definitely worth it. It really allows you. The deeper you dig, the more affirmed you are with some of the decisions that you can make. Marcella, yes, you can't let the small stuff bug you. You just have to look for the macro solution and just plow through it. Alondra, is that how you say it? I've learned many people based on the business. Okay, good. Yes, people are passionate about their businesses, and that keeps us going. These are all really good. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. And so I'm going to have random questions like this throughout the course, throughout the semester. So let's quickly recap last week's messaging, last week's lesson on what an entrepreneur is. And I like to make a differentiation between an entrepreneur and a small business owner. Do I think they are antagonists in nature? No, I think they actually work hand in hand. So I don't want people to think that I have shade of a small business owner or I'm team entrepreneur. They actually work hand in hand in this business ecosystem, and it's actually trade off to ramping up businesses between being an entrepreneur, who is typically the creator, and the small business owner, who is typically a franchisee or someone who wants to set a system to scale and repeat. So if you remember our definition of what an entrepreneur is from the first week, it is someone who has talent, who has the ability to build a product or a service, take the financial risks in hopes that they can make a profit. And so as an entrepreneur, as the chef or as the creative, you may create something amazing, but it may not be sustainable for financial success. That's when someone who is more structured, who has more operation, who's more operationally minded, can help that artist cultivate and hone in that skill set so that they can create a business. So I wanted to clarify from last week. I didn't want people to think that I think small business owners are inferior to entrepreneurs, even though I'm more on the entrepreneurship side. That really just means I love creating stuff and giving it to other people to grow it. And so I wanted to clarify that, but I also wanted to rediscuss the difference between creating ideas and processes and implementing and optimizing current processes. And it's really important to discuss this because processes is essential for scaling and repeating any type of system, whether it is a business, whether you are selling burgers or you're selling chicken sandwiches or barbecue. You need to have a system where you can trust that you can always produce the same product over and over so that you can have a recurring customer. Most customers, unless you're like me, who's just absolutely loyal to all things Oak Cliff, when I go to Rudy's, sometimes the season is a little different. It's not always the same, but I still go there because I love my city. I grew up on Rudy's Chicken, and even from the old restaurant shop. And so, unfortunately, that is not a great business model because the reason why you want to create a process or systems, like what small business owners are attributed to doing on my PowerPoint, is because you want to make sure every day of the year, if you are selling a chicken sandwich, like a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, it tastes the same at this location as it will in a location across town in January or in June. You want the same thing at the same time, same thing the same way. And that is a very important and a very crucial skill for entrepreneurs to have. And it's why it's important for small business owners to work with entrepreneurs in order to create stuff sustainable. All right? Yeah, I love Rudy's too. All right, some pros and cons to entrepreneurship. I know we stated this earlier last week. I'm not going to bring it up again too long. But you as a pro, I can create my own destiny. If I don't feel like working, I won't work. But the con to that is if I don't work, my clients will find someone else to do the job. And that not only will affect my cash flow, but it'll also affect my reputation. That's one thing that entrepreneurs have to worry about compared to people who are either W-2 or who are employees within a larger company that has their own brand. An entrepreneur creates and cultivates their brand everywhere they go. So if there's a season in your life where you suffered a lot of personal changes, getting married, as Carolette has done, right? And then with the marriage comes a honeymoon. And then with the honeymoon, you get home and you still want to have parties and you still want to do the brunch thing every weekend and you're not working as much as you did before. You're still on this wedding high. The reason why I know this is because I'm recently married. I understand this, right? And so your work could, if your clients have an expectation of you to produce something every week or twice a week, and you are no longer in communication with them for a couple of weeks, they will inquire, they will ask what's going on. But what they will also do is tell people who you may not know, who may not be privy to knowing your reputation. Oh, well, Matt's great, but I don't know what happened in June and July, but he just stopped working. Well, they didn't know that I got married or that I didn't go anywhere because of COVID, but They didn't know I was in this season. And so those are types of things you have to articulate as an entrepreneur that sometimes it may not be necessary to do as an employee. Right? I talked about the job creation for my friends, family, and community. I think I've gone through that fairly thorough last week. Time flexibility. I want to talk about time flexibility because some people think that, and none of you all, but I didn't explain it enough to describe the amount of work discipline you need as an entrepreneur. When people see time flexibility, they think, oh, you know what? On Mondays, I just work from 10 to 2. And then I work from 4 to 6 because I want to play PlayStation from 2 to 4 or from whatever time, break times it is. Well, that's not why I wrote this in the slide. The reason why it's really important for entrepreneurs to have time flexibility is because entrepreneurs are typically, especially when you're hiring other people, you have more responsibilities than the actual work in that building. If you're the business owner, you are essentially responsible for the welfare of all of your employees and their families. And so when that happens, things may come up where you may be needed, but that'll take you away from your work. So let's say there's a community meeting and it's affecting education and you have to go to the school board. Well, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to clock out and risk losing time and losing money from your paycheck because you're able to make those decisions. You're able to do that and go to those meetings during the historic workday. But what an entrepreneur also does is recoup those hours in other places. So if I took 3 hours out of my day to go to another meeting, when I get home at 7 o'clock, I'm typically working from 7 until 10 p.m. on the work that I missed. That is time flexibility. It doesn't mean you are kicking it. What it means is you're reallocating time so that you can manage other things outside of your business that may directly impact your business. Another example of that is the ability to be an elected official or to be a volunteer on a board or commission. Well, people don't realize that those appointments are really open to every citizen of Dallas. But the problem is some of these meetings are during the workday, or some of these meetings have blocks in the morning where it's every other Thursday morning from 8 until 1, and people can take time off twice a month to do that. Well, if you're an entrepreneur or you work for an entrepreneur, you have a little bit you have more flexibility for that. And so that's what I mean by time flexibility and how that it can impact other facets of life. Are there any questions? Does anyone have any comments on that? If you understand it, put an exclamation point. If you don't understand it, type in a question mark for me. Good deal. Characteristics of entrepreneurs. Again, I flew through this slide last week, so I want us to be a little bit more deliberate and go over this slide today. Entrepreneurs are passionate and motivated. One of the things, some of the entrepreneurial stories that I read this weekend showed how you have some family members or you know someone who's super passionate about a business. Well, that passion is important to continue on with the work because there are a lot of facets outside of the love that is discouraging for the business owner. And so you have to keep that passion. Can't be afraid to take risks. As an entrepreneur, you are constantly making decisions that have no safety nets. And you have to make sure that you do enough research and that you believe firmly enough in every decision that you make because you are going to take risks as an entrepreneur. And it's okay. It's important to have self-belief, hard work, and have a disciplined dedication. All of those things are very strong. And the reason why I bring those up in this class is because some people actually, people don't realize it, but they can actually develop this while working at a full-time organization or working for someone else. Like when you're clocking in at another organization or a company, they are literally providing structure for you. They are telling you when you can work, when you take breaks. They are telling you what you can spend money on, what you can't spend money on, especially if you have access to a P card or a purchasing card. Or if you spend money with the business, if you like go on a trip for a conference, they will write a list of all of your expenses and your receipts so that they can keep track of your trip. As an entrepreneur, you are doing that constantly, day in, day out. Like every day is a conference because you have to dot every I, cross every T, and you also have to make accountable every dollar that you spend, so that one, you can report that to the federal government so you can pay your taxes and things of that nature. Why is that important? It's very important because if a business don't pay their taxes, they can't, you lose every other type of benefit that you can have under this umbrella of business ownership, whether it's employing other people, whether it's creating assets for yourself and your family. You lose all of that if you don't pay the federal tax for this. And why are taxes important? Taxes are, and this is not a tax class, but in essence, taxes are important so that we can fund a regulating body so that we won't have monopolies and things of that nature. And that's a debatable discussion. Is it abused? Possibly. But I think we need to definitely understand that there has to be, especially in a free enterprise system, you need to have a regulatory body so that people won't just go rampant in the marketplace. That'll be another lecture, though. Entrepreneurs also make the right connections. I said earlier, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's a little bit of both. But it's also how deep you are into these connections, because entrepreneurs are really problem solvers. And what entrepreneurs do is they create some tool or some type of service to make human lives easier. And the only way you understand how a human life can be easier is by communicating with other individuals, socializing, networking. You can do research as well, but depending on your industry, the connections is very crucial. If you're a scientist, the right connections are maybe people that you read or research in journals and whatever skill set that you're in, so that you can create the best technology based on that data point. If you're in sales, the right connections are actually talking to people face to face. If you are a sports franchise, the right connections are other sports teams so that you all can compete on that competition. The right connections are very important in the entrepreneurial space. Are there any questions? All right. Oh, yes.
I just had
Yes, Holly, you go ahead.
I had a comment. I don't know if you saw the what I sent in the box or not.
Yes, how it helps you monetize yourself for yourself. Go ahead. Please expound on that.
Well, you were speaking about like just the good things that that jobs can like teach you how to do, and I was just thinking about like you know, if so for instance, you were speaking about taxes and stuff, right? So if you learn about taxes or whatever, or depending on your job, but if you learn about something, you can learn it and create a skill set, and then with that you can teach other people and charge other people how to learn whatever it is that you know you learn from your job. And so that's what I was talking about. And then also you were just speaking about networking, the power of networking. It just made me think about if people like if you're trying to get into an industry and you don't know how to get into the industry and you don't know where these people are to network with, you can always just type in whatever industry you're looking for on Meetup, and then just show up to like some of the free meetups, and then just sit and listen. And then just, like I have a business card with just like my name on it. You know what I mean? Name, phone number, email, just something super simple, and just to give out to people, just to get your foot in the door, I guess, to get you in the right direction for networking.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Thanks for sharing all of that, Holly, because you're absolutely right. Those are just ways that you expand your network and build your tool chest for being a better entrepreneur. So yeah, appreciate that. So now what I want to spend the rest of our time discussing is our midterm description. Now, everyone was able to see my email and my message. Yes, Marcelo, your network is your net worth. Everyone knows which group numbers you all are in? Okay. Good deal. So what is the midterm? For your October submission, your midterm is to create a business plan. Now, this business plan is going to be about 2 to 3 pages, I believe I have, or 3 to 4 pages. It's 3 to 4 pages. And it's going to be covering the 4 major facets of business planning. And these are the 4 facets that I'm going to teach you today as an undergraduate course. I've written business plans as small as 2 pages, as large as 90 to 100 pages. And so business plans are different for different industries. And so what I want to do is talk to you briefly on what a business plan is, and then tell you the 4 parts, and then I'll clarify on the things that I am expecting to see for your midterm, and then subsequently your final presentation in December. So the true purpose of a business plan is a comprehensive, fleshed out document describing every facet of your business. It's your A to Z of what you're doing in your company. It's going to do various things. The main thing you want your business plan to do is to tell a story. You want people to know what you are doing, right? So there's going to be some storytelling in the business plan. Is it the entire business plan? No, it's a portion of it. It's really important to describe to you why you shouldn't have a flowery storybook for your business plan, because businesses won't take you seriously. If you don't have any tangible numbers, if you just have flowery narrative or a beautiful rhetoric on how great your business is, it shows a lack of objectivity and a lack of preparedness for assessing good scenarios or bad scenarios. So the first thing that I typically look at is the narrative for your business plan or your company description, right? This is in a narrative form. For your midterm, that's going to take 1 page. That'll be 1 page for your midterm. I want you to describe your business in 1 page, right? A business plan comes in various forms. It can be based on industry, or it can be based on your personality. This is the center diagram that you see on the slide. What I mean by industry, your business plan in the financial tech industry or in the financial services industry will look different than the business plan from an art gallery or from a theater center. Why are they different? Are they better or worse? No, they could be the same, but they are going to relay different information. And the information is going to be essential because it's going to let your certain investor know the feasibility of them or the comfortability of them putting their money or their resources into your building, into your business. So let's go back to the financial services company. if I'm an investor and I am a young stockbroker and I'm creating a new business and I want to hire 10, 15 of my buddies, my business plan needs to address one, my skill set, my credentials, why I am qualified to create my own financial housing firm. Two, it also needs to create the specific niche of the financial industry I'm wanting to attack and quite honestly exploit, because what people who are in certain industries are doing, what entrepreneurs do, when they start their own business, they purposely look from the outside in to figure out a unique way to approach a problem. That's what no one else is doing. So if they worked for, let's say, JP Morgan on the investment side and realize, I don't like doing housing portfolios, I want to do something different. I want to start my own company that not just do housing, but it's going to make a specific ask for housing, commercial, and oil and gas in Texas and the Southwest region. Those are the things that you are describing in your business plan. That's what people in the business world call differentiators. That allows me to set you apart from Northwestern Mutual, or set you apart from AXA, or set you apart from Merrill Lynch, right? Those type of things are described in your business plan. And typically, industries like a traditional business industry is much more structured in their business plan than, let's say, a musician. When I started my music production company, I didn't have to write as many certifications that I would have to write if I were in the financial services space. But I had to make proof that me being in the music production business will be profitable to people. And what that means is I had to show my proof of work. I had to show some things that I've written out. I've had to show some promotions that people made money on. I've had to show some projects that I worked with so that people could have comfort and to say, oh, Matt knows what he's doing. I keep reading, right? Your business plan also depends on your personality. Some people, even though it may be a serious subject, and Carolette, yes, it's a great question. Some business plans do require letters of recommendation, especially if you are creating a business that requires you to have a certain amount of certifications, or you are supposed to be esteemed in some way. So, for example, if a doctor is creating his or her own practice and they're creating a business plan, they may want to have letters of hospital systems that they worked with previously to show the positive track record for potential investors. In fact, I was on a call last week with 4 doctors who were starting their own business, and they have 3 lines of business that they're raising money for, and they literally had letters from each one of the hospital systems they work with to show, no, I'm a beast. He's a beast. They should start their own business. Those type of things make investors or potential investors feel more comfortable to invest money to ramp up their business. So great question. But also going back to personalities, you can add your own flavor to your business plan. There's no set structure. There's no accepted universal structure for a business plan. There are guides, but most importantly, you just want to describe from A to Z what your business is, how it's going to operate, how it will make money, and who's going to be in your space. And that goes to the bottom part of the slide, which are the common themes. There are 4 common themes in the business plan. These are the common things I'm going to grade you on for your midterm and your final. And it's one, your company description, which I said will be a page. And that's going to describe that's going to be your narrative, what your business is, how to make money. You'll see a slide about that later on in this presentation. Company finances. It's important for you to write down your finances. That's going to be a page of your midterm. And then your finances will be about 2 pages in your final exam. So your midterm should be 3 to 4 pages. Your final paper will be 6 to 8 pages, just FYI. Your company finances is your second thing that's typically there. Why are company finances important? Well, if your company description is your subjective, flowery narrative, your company finances or your profit and loss statements are things that investors can objectively see that makes if this business can actually make financial sense. If they love your company description but don't see a financial logic, that can affect them investing in your business, right? That's really important. The third common thing is your competition. Not only is it important for you to create your own business, but you also need to know, is there anyone in this space with me that I need to go against? Or is there even a desire, is there even a need for this thing that I love to do? Is it a demand for me here in this particular area? And if it is not, should I do some research to see if there's not competition in other places close by so that I can put a business there and be profitable? So having a competitive analysis is very important. And the fourth major theme in most business plans are your company operations. What are company operations? Your company operations is the what and the who and the how your business runs. The what's are what type of store, what type of facility is your space in? Is it in a large warehouse? Are you in a small store? Is it in your garage? Is it an e-store? All of those determine what in your company operations. The who will be operating day in and day out in your business? Will it just be me? Will it be me and my family? Will I be able to hire 2 or 3 UNT Dallas students? Do I need to hire a group of consultants? Do I need a board of advisors, which you'll see later on in these slides? That will include a business attorney, a business CPA, a business accountant, insurance broker. Those are the who's of a business operation. And the last thing, hold on, let me see this. In the competition part, is that where we include a SWOT analysis? Possibly. Yes, you can do a SWOT analysis in your competition portion. You can even do your SWOT analysis in your operations as well, just FYI. But the who, we did the what, the who, and the last part of your operation is the how. And so how in operations is very important. In logistics, it's how are you able to create this widget and get it to where it gets in front of a customer's hands to purchase it? And how am I going to use that money that they purchased this widget for? How can I put it back into the business to create another one? And you need to identify those type of things under company operations. All right. Part 1 is your company description. Please ignore presentation number 1. That used to be the first presentation, my first assignment for this class. Not doing that anymore. Ignore it. Your company description is your passion, but it's your business logic also. It's why you're creating this business. Some people, I'll tell you why we created one of my companies, Group Excellence. We created this tutoring company out of a straight need, a need that Black and brown kids needed help in math and science and the ISD. And 2 is the assets that we had. We didn't have any money. We didn't have any buildings. We were college students. So the business logic was, we knew that there was a demand. Kids needed to be tutored in math and science. What we did Also in our company description, it said, you know what we are? We are 4 college students, 4 decorated college students, 2 of which are from DISD. The other 2 are from the area who want to invest in DISD students who are well known in math and science, not only in the high school level, but in the collegiate level. And we are willing to ease and supply the demand of needing more students. And the reason why is because most of us are from these neighborhoods that these students are from. And we didn't have the support structure. And now that we're in a place where we can provide that structure, we want to create a business model so that that structure can exist, which will therefore improve education in the city, and it'll improve workforce preparedness for the city of Dallas, because you're having a higher educated workforce, which will attract businesses across the world. Those are the things that you can say in your first company description, but you have to first know why you're doing things. And not only your passion, but you also have to make business sense of it. I'm passionate about teaching kids in math and science, but I also needed to write down that me teaching kids business and science in Dallas will benefit Dallas. It will benefit the city by having a higher educated workforce. And that's what this first portion, this first section, which will be about a page long, is for. It's also your emotional appeal for this, for your business. Part 2, your company finances. After you have poured your heart out in your company description, it should take you another page to describe to businesses, or in your business plan, investors, how you're going to make money. You do that through, and you don't have to show me this in your midterm, but typically entrepreneurs will have to show their personal financial statements. They'll have to probably show proof of submitting taxes for the previous 3 years. And you will have to prove some sort of credit worthiness, whether it is your personal line of credit, which entrepreneurs, that fluctuates ginormously. Yes, ginormously is a real word in this household, because entrepreneurs take on so much risk. Their credit score can be as high as 820 or as low as 400, right? Depending on what cycle they're in their business space. So business owners or investors who are looking at these business plans, look at people's individual financial health, because wait, Bianca, you were in the group acting student group? All right, we'll talk later. Anyway, but it's really important for investors to know the financial lifeblood of the actual entrepreneur, because they are entrusting their resources, their assets to that individual. They want to make sure that you all are good stewards of that. Now, does that mean you need to have a perfect credit score? No, but it does show that you need to have an effective plan. So if you're in the 500-600 credit score range, you need to ensure that you have someone on your team that will be able to answer the questions that the investors will have in terms of financial stability, right? Also, in your company finances, people look for profit loss projections. And profit loss projections are typically, in year 1, the numbers could look like this. Year 3, it'll look like this. Year 5, it'll look like this. And this is an assessment of profit loss statement based on whatever factors you have. You also should be aware of creating balance sheets and cash flow statements as well, which goes to my third point, which is projected cash flow. And again, this is not a finance class, so I'm going super fast in this space. I am not going to be testing you on the actual financial principles as much as I will help you apply what you learn in all of those classes in the document in the business plan. FYI. But projected cash flow is how much cash your business needs to operate. That's not the same as what your profit is or what your revenue is. Cash flow is for this day, Wednesday, September 9th, I needed $4,000 for my business to keep the doors open. I need $4,000 every day for my business to stay open. I don't care how I get there. I need to make sure $4,000 or cycle through so I can pay for water, pay for light bills, pay for my materials, pay for all those things. That's cash flow. A balance, we'll go back. I have a separate finance lecture that we'll go over. But the last thing is also a break-even analysis. Most investors want to know how long will it take your business to break even, and then how long will it take for your business to be profitable, which means what time will it be whenever I get my money back? Investors want to know, when will I get my money back? Everyone wants to know that. If I loan $20 to my cousin, I want to know, what hour this day are you going to pay me back? I know you can go to an ATM somewhere. Investors may ask for their money in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years. But they're going to want to know an analysis. They're going to want to have an understanding when your business will become profitable, so you can start paying off your debt. All right, Mariah, thank you for this question. Will you provide an example of this project or like a document on instructions? Yes, I will provide this. This is going to serve as one data point, so please look at this video. I will also provide this PowerPoint presentation separately. I normally just have the video, but I'll provide this PowerPoint slide too. And I will provide other resources for you all so that you all, I will not provide an example midterm. I will not provide that because I want you all to, in your groups, to create your own unique way of formulating these 4 subcategories. But what I will do is provide this presentation as a PowerPoint in Canvas so that you're able to reference it. All right. Thanks for that question. Part 3 is your competition. And in competition, in this section of the paper, again, this will be a page in your midterm. It'll be about 2 pages for you. You're going to state who is directly or indirectly in competition with you. We have another course, another lecture that's going to be competition lecture that talks about the differences between an indirect and a direct competitor. A direct competitor, direct competition are 2 opposing businesses with very, very similar products. So Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out are direct competitors. Why are they direct competitors? Well, it's because they are providing a fast food service. They are providing a service that allows vehicular transportation. They're in similar price range, and they are typically going for the same demographics, the same group of people, whether it's social economic, whether it's location, geographically located, for the same demographic of people. An example of an indirect competitor in that same food service would be Chick-fil-A and Chili's. Why are they indirect competitors? They both serve food, but one has a fast food drive-through model, while the other one is a casual dine-in model. One has a price range of, let's say, $7 to $15, whereas Chili's has a price range of $10 to $30, which is a different bracket, social income bracket of different purpose. And also, Chick-fil-A does not have a bar. They do not sell alcohol. It is not a place of leisure or a place to watch activities. Whereas Chili's is also a bar that provides a different type of atmosphere and that sells different beverages, right? So even though they said the common feed is food, but they're indirect competitors because they serve a different demographic of people, right? Another part of competition is how will your product compare to the competition? A lot of people, everyone's going to be proud of their own product, right? But it's really important, going back to making critical assessments under your peer reviews. It's important to know the type of self-awareness you have so that you can know where your product stands compared to your competitors. Let's say you are really looking forward to having a low-cost product, low-cost widget, so that it can be affordable for everyone in your neighborhood area. Well, the benefit is it's affordable, but it may not have the durability as another one of your competitors' products. That could be a good or a bad thing. It could be a good thing if your cost is so low that it's cheaper or it's better for people to buy 4 of your products than one of their products because that one product is so expensive. That could be your competitive advantage, right? Or if you're creating a product that is affordable for everyone but needs to be durable, you need to make an assessment. Do I make this a higher quality product, or do I do things to ensure people will always have access to this product? Do I drop my price down because I know it's an inferior product? Those type of things are really important to know about your competition, not to see if they're better than you, but to see where on the board you are in relation to them. And you can use this model. This is a comparative analysis that you could use that shows your product, your strengths, your weaknesses, competitor A, competitor B, and then the importance to the customer. All of these things are really important. And it's a good assessment to see how your product stands in front of next to other types of products. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later too. Last thing, part number 4, company operations. In company operations, again, for your midterm, this is one page of one section of your midterm. And your company operations is literally the A to Z of how your business is going to operate. It can be through your production, what type of facilities you need, whether, like I said, a large building or a virtual office. Transportation, how will you transport your products to your storefront? Or if you're able to do an e-store, how would you be able to ship your product to your customer? Logistics, that it all describes. It is literally writing everything up on how you get from A to Z on your products. And in productions, you need to know what type of raw materials you may need. Under location and under operations. Location is essential. People don't realize, based on the certain business or nonprofit you have, you may need to have certain zoning, whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial zoning. Does anyone know the difference between the different zonings, residential, commercial, or industrial zoning here in the city? Write it in the chat box. Let's see, the first person who does, and it's a correct assessment, I'll give them a prize. Yeah, just describe to me the differences or the different the purpose of a residential, commercial zoning, or industrial zoning. Elena, are you asking me or are you telling me taxing is different? Let's do this. This is great timing. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 people said things. So let me write this down. So Holly, Jose, Carolette. All right. So the 3 of you all are going to receive a book from me soon. Hold on for 1 sec. Sorry about that. You all are going to receive this book called Boom, Bridging the Opportunity Gap to Reignite Startups. This is from Craig Hall. He is a billionaire here in Dallas. My business partner, he interviewed my business partner in chapter 1 of the book. And it's a book that I'm thinking about using for my entrepreneurship class next year. It's a really neat read. And so if the 3 of you, Holly, Jose, Carolette, please send me a Canvas message with your address or P.O. box. I would love to ship these to you. All right. But so thank you all for doing that. I will tell you, make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay, great. So different zonings are vital for cities. One, some of y'all have already said it. One, it determines the tax bracket, determines the tax rate, but it also determines how a city is structured. Most people don't realize, but most cities have order where neighborhoods are kind of grouped together, or you see businesses grouped together, or you see industries grouped together, so you can prevent pollution or prevent just chaos in the city. And so residential homes are relatively the least populated, the least dense out of the 3. And those are really focused on providing places, safe places where people can live, their families can thrive, and their particular businesses that are around the neighborhoods, like neighborhood services, grocery stores, churches, gyms, those type of the dry cleaners, things of that nature, are typically zoned in a residential space because it provides a service to those types of individuals. And it's a lower tax bracket because they don't want to. The reason why it's a lower residential tax is because residents will already pay other taxes to feed the economy, like a retail tax, things of that nature. Commercial zoning is a little different. It's more dense. It's typically where people drive to work. So let's say Texas Instruments, or let's say downtown Dallas. I think someone said downtown Dallas is an example of commercial zoning. That's absolutely right. It's typically where there's commerce. There's an exchange of products or services for exchange of either monetary value or some other product, some other service. There's transactions happening. That's a higher tax rate, and typically it's more dense. Industrial space is another aspect where it's more of spaces like warehouses are located so that people that are doing the transactions on the commercial space can actually implement whatever they're doing and ship them across the world. And so that the industrial space typically have a larger footprint, meaning businesses will need thousands, hundreds of acres, or thousands, hundreds of thousands, billions of square feet to be able to provide this. But it also historically has been a place of high pollution of that area. So people use these different zones so that people won't live next to factories all the time necessarily, so that we can kind of keep our society in order. And so locations are important. Why did I ask why did I say all of this for an entrepreneurship class? Your location is important for how you want to label your business and where you want your business to be located so you can maximize your profits. If you are a factory, you don't want to be in a zone residential area where you have limited street access to the highway to where you can't ship your things in and out. The same if you are a dry cleaners or if you are a gift shop, it's difficult for you to be a gift shop in an industrial space because there's no really walk-through traffic. You really have people just going to work and going to the building. And so that's very important. Also, location is important in logistics, in your operations because it shows the ease of transportation routes. If you're able to find an office space or an industrial complex off of a highway, it's much easier for you to get materials in and out of your business than it is to go inside of a residential neighborhood, like I said earlier. Your personnel. Personnel could be your friends, your families, business partners. This is also a place where you create your job descriptions. In your group, with your group project, I definitely want every individual in your group to have a role within the business, whether it's over marketing, whether it's over finance, whether it's over sales, whether it's being the CEO, whether it's being the janitor. Please label what each team member is and create a job description, a theoretical job description of their purpose. And your job descriptions are important so that everyone can know what everyone is doing, so that you can have an effective work environment. The last group of people I want to talk about in the operations portion are your professional and your advisory support. Why are these individuals important? These individuals are important because they are your support group that wants to ensure that your business stays afloat. Contrary to common belief, people don't build businesses by themselves. There's typically a network of advisors, of people who people can reach out to be able to provide advice, mentors, if you will. Someone who's been an entrepreneur before, who has all the knowledge, but who don't want to do the day in, day out risk of it. Experts, people who failed are actually experts at things because they know what not to do, right? Also, people who've been in the industry longer than you have, some, especially if they're not direct competitors, will probably want to help you out. It's important for everyone to have a board of directors. Board of directors are respected individuals or trusted and respected individuals who can provide governance for your company, for your business. Your board of directors also create policies, rules, regulations for your day-to-day operations. You need a business attorney. I think that's very crucial because business attorneys allow you to not only have an individual to watch your interests at heart, but it also allows you to be able to provide some safety protocols so that if someone wants to hostilely take over your business, at least you have someone who can provide a strategy for you. And most people don't add them, but I add them as insurance agent and a CPA. It's really important to have an insurance agent because an insurance agent allows you to provide indemnity for materials, for disabilities, for anything, any risks that you may have with your business, whether it's personal or whether it's professional operational expenses. And your CPA allows you to file taxes. That's actually what I'm going to do tonight for 3 hours after this class, is get my stuff ready for my tax attorney. So those are the type of important people in your in the business operations. Does anyone have any questions? I know that was a lot. This video recording will be available probably first thing tomorrow morning, depending on how long it records. but I'll also provide the PowerPoint presentation as well. Do I have any questions?
As far as like with our groups, I'm new to Canvas, and so is it just a way on there for us to just, I'm assuming in the inbox, just to click it and we can just kind of start speaking with our group?
Yes, under your inbox, if you go to one of the peoples, they should have your group highlighted to where you can communicate to the members of your group via Canvas. I am also researching an avenue where I can create a form within Zoom, within Canvas, where you all can just meet. And so that's what I'm going to research. Great question. Any other questions? Good deal. Well, if not, you all have a great night. Holly, Jose, and Carolette, please send me a message. I think, Holly, you sent me a message already, and I'll deliver these books to you. Thank you all, and y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Professor Houston. You too.
Yes, ma'am.
Good night.
Good night.
Professor, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So for the extra credit or the Cred survey,
Mhm.
I actually X out before saving or taking a screenshot of it.
Mhm.
And when I tried to open it again, the tab that I closed, to see if I could still screenshot it, it restarted everything again.
Okay. Question: did they send you an email confirmation about the fact that you submitted it or anything?
I think so.
If they did, would you screenshot that email and then send that to me, and then I'll give you credit.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Mariah.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
For one of the assignments due this week, it asked to use one of our local newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
Could I use one from online, or does it have to
Oh,
be
yeah.
a print?
Yeah, no, you don't have to use a print copy. Use the online.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problem. Great question.